Hey guys, welcome back. Today I want to show you a very special bike. That's right, this is a historic dirt bike. It's hard to realize that this bike is 20 years old, but this is a very sought after bike. This is of course the Honda XR650R. It is very different than the L version of Honda, the XR650L. Very different. People keep thinking that, oh yeah, this is just another Honda XR650, but no, this is a very special XR. This bike has been climbing up in price for years, and it's getting harder to get because everybody wants them. There's a very different type of person that likes riding these XR650Rs, and today I want to show you a little bit about this bike. It's a phenomenal bike, and this is my second XR650. This one, as you can see, it's in supermoto form, and this is a tip-top shape Honda XR. It's got the CRF 450 forks, it's got the supermoto wheels, and when you ride this thing, you'll know right away why people like the XR650R. So this bike has got 17-inch supermoto wheels, it's got an oversized rotor, it's got an upside down fork CRF 450 front end. So the forks and everything, the brake calipers have an adapter that pushes out the caliper so it can grab onto this massive rotor. And the supermoto wheels are in excellent shape. This is a perfect stunt bike. Normally the XR650 comes with a different fender, but this fender's been modified. The XR650 fender, of course, was meant more for the dirt, so it's much bigger and longer. This one has been more torted, so you can see it's been cut, but it still looks pretty cool. It's a very different style. Like most XR650s, it's been dual sported. That's something that you're going to find in a lot of these XRs. They have all been converted to street use because this bike makes probably one of the better dual sports you can get. This is a 277-pound dirt bike. 277 pounds is still rather heavy, but not for dual sport use. When you have a dual sport that weighs this little and you can still ride it for a long time in the road, it makes it a very good dual sport. Supermoto wheels give it a very good handling for road use. They take a little bit of time to get used to because if you're riding an XR650R off-road with a 21-inch front wheel, it takes a little bit of time to understand how much you can lean this thing. The bike is of course a kickstart only. It doesn't have an electric start at all, and that's kind of like a very bad thing for a lot of riders because kickstarting an XR650 could be quite an endeavor if you don't know how to start it. But this bike is fairly easy to start. There's a lot of technique that goes into it using the decompression lever, and it'll kickstart usually like first or second kick all the time, even when it's cold. There have been complaints about the carburetor. The carburetor on this bike that comes with the stock XR is very jerky, and the throttle is very jerky. So some people put a different carburetor in there, but this one's got the stock one. This bike has been uncorked, and what that means is that when it comes from the stock form, it's very weak compared to what you should be getting. And when you uncork the bike, it really livens the entire bike up. It becomes almost like a motocross bike with a whole lot more power. This bike does have an aftermarket exhaust. It is rather loud, and I don't really care too much about an aftermarket exhaust other than it lightens up the bike. But if you had the stock exhaust, it would still sound as good as this. The only problem with this very large this exhaust is that it is loud and attracts a lot of people's attention. So that's the one downside. If you're riding in the dirt, the last thing you want is to attract attention. Something that I don't particularly care for is like all the holes that were drilled on here. Behind here is the air box or the air filter, and it's very easy to get to. Honda was nice enough to put these little clips on here, and you can just remove it and get to the filter. Well, what kind of review would this be if I didn't ride the bike? Man, this bike is such a killer. Remember, This is an XR650R. It's not the L version, and this thing has got supermoto wheels, so this thing is unbelievably great handling. And of course, for me, I'm not a great rider per se. It's a special bike, and it's been climbing up in value over the years. When this bike first came out, it was a bike that people didn't quite understand, or especially after the CRF 450 came out. It didn't make a lot of sense to have this bike, because you could get like a 450 that was lighter and had about the same power, but the problem is it's not the same power. The way this bike makes power is so much more different than a CRF, and this is like a really freaking amazing bike. Just listen to that bike, Jesus. This is a fun bike to ride. It's incredible. It's one of the last long stroke thumpers, and it has nothing related to the Honda XR650L. The 650L is very slow compared to this. This one weighs 277 pounds. The bike looks really fantastic in stock trim, but with the supermoto wheels, I think this thing just kind of screams. It brings out the worst in people, I think. It really does, because the supermoto fun is quite insane on this thing. It makes you want to wheelie all the time, going over bumps. It's just got a lot of streetable power, and I think that's what I like about the XR650 on the street, is that if you ride this thing on the street, it feels like a very good dual sport. Let me show you how to start this bike. And there we go. And it would start on first kick. This bike does start on first kick, but the problem is I am not that good at starting it. So let's go for a ride and see how she handles around some twisties. I think one of the cool things about this bike is that you can ride around just like parking lots, and you can have a lot of fun. Another thing that you might want to consider is that your new hobby is going into garages and setting off car alarms, because this bike does it in spades. I think what I like is the quick acceleration of this thing. Super cool thing is that I'm basically sitting on a perch on this bike, and it's so tall that I can see over cars, and it feels light. If you're coming from an adventure bike onto this thing, it feels like you're gone into a bicycle. This thing is lighter than the Ninja 250R, so it's kind of insane, by 100-something pounds. So this is the type of roads that this bike likes. It really feels like you can go into these corners really hard. God damn, this bike is just pure fun. In supermoto trim, this thing just screams. But it's also the type of bike that people get very upset when they see you like going by. God damn, man, this bike is just pure fun in supermoto trim. I forget, there's a lot of clearance. Jesus, this bike is quick. And I'm just riding this normally, but this bike is incredibly fun. Every single bike that I've seen that's been a XR650R has been street legal. It's not like people are just riding these on the street in supermoto form all the time. Before, people just wanted to get to the trails, and it's a lot easier to get to trails if you can ride there or park your car and then just ride around on. So that is the XR650R. I hope you enjoyed this review. It's a great bike. It is definitely worth getting in 2020. If you can get one of these and hold on to it, I think the value is just going to be skyrocketing. These bikes are really difficult to find these days. There's not that many, and the people that do own them, they tend to hold on to them. They really love these things, and they're reliable. So thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.